I should be writing number 489, Tuesday, March 31st, 2020. Hi there. Welcome to I Should Be Writing, the podcast for wannabe fiction writers, and I am your host, Mur. I had a thought this morning, and I posted on Twitter, if any other creator felt the pressure to create more stuff, create better stuff, to keep people going these days. And both people who replied yes are still managing to do it. That's Dr. Pamela Gay, Star Strider. She's doing readings for people, sort of like a bedtime story stuff. And right now she's doing my novella, Marco and the Red Granny. This is a book that I'm very proud of, and it didn't, compared to all my other stuff, it's probably the least popular. Least popular implies unpopular, which implies people didn't like it, but I just think it just didn't get on a lot of radars. But anyway, that's going on. Star Strider, Stryder. And then Scott Sigler says he's doing stuff on Facebook Live about his own facial hair. And I'm like, okay, well, they understand, but they're still doing stuff. And I'm just having, I have one good day, and then I have other days that are not so good. I woke up Saturday feeling great, and I did a lot of stuff. And then Sunday, I was worn out. And then Monday, I thought I could start doing stuff, and then I ended up being worn out on Sunday too, or Monday too. But I was influenced by Scott and Pamela, so thanks, guys. To actually get something done this morning, aside from reading Twitter and seeing how everybody else is miserable, or as the virus gets closer and closer, and getting that 1 degree of separation now where I know people who are sick or have died. My brain is doing the jerk thing right now of deciding that it needs to write something else than the book that I'm writing. I've gotten great new ideas and even a new character. And since I'm not very good at characters, I was very happy to have created this new character in my head. And, it's not for the book I'm writing, of course. It's for the book I want to be writing. But this is a very common problem. If it ever happens to you, know that it's very common, and know that it's your brain whining, because coming up with ideas is always more fun and always easier than actually writing the book. And if I sat down to write this book, it would become work, and I would daydream about another project. So I know that for a fact, and so I just try to take notes on whatever ideas I come up with, and then I'll get to it once I'm done with this book. But this is the book that's contracted. This is the book I'm writing for Ace. This is the book that's due. So not a lot of people have joined me in the Artist Way thing. One person says, in the Discord, said they had done it before, and one person said they picked up the book, so it might just be me and that person. But I'm just here to help you guys along if you want to do it. Regardless, I'm probably still going to be talking about doing it myself, because talking about stuff online is a bit of a accountability. That's the word I'm looking for. Mixed accountability. What's funny is somebody told me that they had tried finding water and found it a little bit too much on the spiritual God level, which I've not experienced yet, but I'm only on week 2, so I'm curious. I'm also wondering if I'm going to encounter something like the dreaded week 4 of The Artist's Way, where she requires you to not read anything. And I'm thinking, what kind of world do you live in where you don't have to read anything? You don't have to read emails or reports at work, or how do you work if you don't read? If you're a writer, how do you work if you don't read? If you're a reviewer, how do you work if you don't read? And just wondering what kind of privileged life she lives that she can actually take a week and not read. I've been thinking about maybe doing some video. I've been doing some Twitch streams for Stardew Valley, but I think I might just do like live writing sessions and invite people to join me. That's another accountability thing. However, I'm nervous doing video at the best of times, and I don't know when the best time would be for people to either watch or write with me. But I guess that's not my problem. I need to do it when I can. Going back to my first point, I want to be somebody that creates content and is there for you guys and keeps you going and gives you inspiration. But some days, there's nothing there. I just can't. And it's really hard. It's embarrassing and it's hard, and it sounds like someone is always a creator and somebody else is always a consumer. There's just the thinking of, I guess I have to acknowledge that some days I need to be comforted, and some days I can be the comforter. And that's okay. But if you're interested in what I'm doing for self-care, I'm walking. I'm playing a lot of Animal Crossing. I'm working on my hybrid rose growing in Animal Crossing. I'm going to be streaming some Stardew Valley again. I'm baking. What's funny is I get annoyed because the whole, people are talking about how everyone's doing this like stress pandemic baking. And I'm like, I was doing stress pandemic baking before it was cool. Meaning that I've been baking sourdough for over a year now. And it's not because we're sequestered inside, it's because I want sourdough. Yesterday I baked a really ugly loaf and a very pretty loaf, but the ugly loaf tasted good. And these days that's all that matters. But I'm not putting a picture of ugly loaf on the internet, because you know someone's going to tell me what I did wrong. I know what I did wrong. Don't breadsplain me, man. But yes, I'm doing sourdough bread. I tried to bake sourdough pretzels, soft pretzels, using the King Arthur flour recipe. Wasn't entirely thrilled with the result. I might try it a little bit more. The King Arthur flour does not require boiling, which other recipes do. And we think it would have been good to poach it a little bit before. But I've never boiled bread, so it's all very interesting. I'm just talking about this as a self-care thing. This is not turning into a cooking podcast, because I'm definitely not a chef. Thought about it when I was much younger. But I have the same problem with flavors as I do with visualizing, in that it's hard for me to completely come up with how something should look. I have trouble thinking these two flavors would go well together. I can follow a recipe, but when it comes to actually making my own dishes, not so much. I've been, like, when I play Animal Crossing and I go to friends' islands, I'm amazed with the kind of decorating they've done. I mean, Animal Crossing has a ton of items you can decorate with. They've got toilets. They've got different kinds of toilets. I'm not saying you can do some amazing decorating with toilets, although I'm sure someone has. I'm saying that is the scope of the stuff you can find. You can find toilets. You can find an espresso maker. You can find a paper lantern. You can find an oil drum. So I go to other people's places and I see all the pretty flowers and fences and the items, and I'm just amazed because I don't think that way. And I've copied a couple of friends' designs, a couple of ideas here and there, but that's still not me coming up with my own. And I've just come to accepted the fact that I don't think visually. This is why some of my scenes may not be described well in my books, because it was a scene my editor didn't catch to say, wow, I can't picture anything going on here. You've got dialogue and action, and I have no idea the setting they're in or what that person looks like. There was a scene in Ghost Train to New Orleans where it was near the climax, or I think it was the climactic battle or near the climactic battle. And I remember sitting there just racking my brain to picture the scene and then to write it out. And I remember it felt like my brain was flexing like a muscle, and it was so hard. And then when I got notes back, my editor said, "This is an excellent scene. Make the rest of the book like this." And I wanted to cry because that scene took so much out of me to write. But nobody said every part of your job is going to be easy. Description's hard. Sometimes I can't be creative. Do what you need to do in order to do some self-care. That's my message for today. I'm going to do my chapter in Finding Water, and then I'll talk about it tomorrow. Remember, if you want to start The Artist's Way or Vein of Gold or Finding Water or whatever book you want to follow, it's not too late if you just want to talk about your process in the Discord. That's patreon.com/mightymur. $1 a month will get you into the Discord. And we can talk about stuff. Or if you don't want to join Patreon, you can still just email me and tell me how you're doing. But as I said a little while ago, all I gotta do is one day at a time. All I gotta do is today. I don't have to worry about tomorrow, and I can't fix whatever went wrong with yesterday. So, I'm gonna take care of today. I'm gonna pet the dog. I'm gonna do the dishes. And then tomorrow we start again. And you should be writing.